Covina, California. In my soul I feel a fire, 'cause I'm heading for the pride of the Inland Empire. My life's about to change, oh my gosh, 'cause I'm hopelessly, desperately in love with West Covina.
Hold up, is the Blaze Pizza still open? No way. We did it. After a long and grueling 20-minute drive, Peter and I finally arrived in West Covina, my hometown of 18 years. We came here to do research, but after moseying around the mall and having a quick lunch at the very pedestrian-hostile Porto's Bakery right next door, we got tired and decided to consult a local expert on housing. Then again, we were just two dudes taking design activism and playing with the drone. We desperately needed somebody's help. And that's when we called our good friend. Wait, I'll just let him introduce himself.
My name is Brian Tabatabai. I am an ethnic studies teacher at Almani High School and the Mayor Pro Tem of the city of West Covina. And I'm happy to be here today.
What do you think of the Plaza West Covina, that mall, that space? Like, how is it used? What's the perception of it? How do you feel about it? That kind of thing.
Well, it has a long history in the community. It's a branded site, right? So people know the mall, the West Covina Mall. It is something that draws people to the city. As far as my perspective, I view it as a lot of wasted space, right? So whenever you see large parking lots, right? To me, it's almost equivalent to an oil spill in the ocean, right? You're taking all of this space that could be utilized for, number one, housing, and instead you're using it to park cars. You know, the suburbs got created. Why did the suburbs get created? Well, you know, you have white flight, you have racially restrictive covenants and all of those things that build West Covina. And so really built in this idea of car culture, right? You're going to have to force the change. You know, people aren't just going to give up driving. They're not going to just give up, right? This vision of the suburbs. You kind of have to force it. And one way to force it is, well, there's no parking available, right? You know, and then that leads to, well, then if we can't park, then we definitely need the mass transit. I see that you have this land that is so valuable now, but valuable for what? Valuable for housing people, not for housing cars.
I just wanted to ask where the city's at with that, and what is it actually going to happen, basically?
Yeah, so a couple of things on that. Number one, we have not had our housing element okayed by the state. So what does that mean? That means a developer who wants to put 100% affordable housing, let's say they go to the owners of the Sears building and make an offer and say, we're going to put 100% affordable housing on there. And let's say the owners accept that offer, the city can't do anything about it.
Are there other politics or like financial concerns going on that would prevent them from doing that?
Yeah, so again, I think because it's capitalism, right? And we're not doing social housing. Right. If we were doing social housing, if we were doing, you know, government funded housing, you know, then you don't have to think about the profit margin. Right. From what I understand, and just a lot of the research I've done, a mix of some affordable with then market rate housing seems to work best for the developers. Right. And also for communities. One thing that you never want to do is, and I don't think you want to do it with any demographic, is you don't want to concentrate people. You don't want to concentrate just 100% affordable housing in one area. You don't want to just concentrate, you know, people racially, right, in one area, right? That's when you create issues.
When Peter and I toured Plaza West Covina, we saw that there were a lot more deep-rooted issues than just the Sears building. For one, Portos is right next to everything else, and yet it is fenced off. There's only one way in. If you don't have a car, it's pretty hostile to walk through the gate that is so obviously only meant for cars.
This is where you get to the hostility of walkability in our city, right? Our city is very hostile to walkers, very hostile to bike riders. The Portos is definitely, they've created it for the driver, because you can analyze this to death and rationalize why not do it, right? Everything can be rationalized away, right? You can come up with every reason why it's a horrible idea, but then you got to come back to, but are we okay with 250,000 people in California being homeless?
Mm.
Right? Because every time you shoot down one of these housings, whoa, lights out. Just to let you know, just on that idea, I did hear floating around this possibility of that Sears being turned into a Costco.
Oh.
Huh.
Oh.
You know,
I like
with,
I mean, but I like housing, you know, so.
no, I you know, as someone on the west side where, you know, we don't necessarily have access to the groceries and stuff like that, you know, I'm like, oh, that'd be great. But as someone who's really big into housing, right, I'd rather see it be housing.
What advice do you have for any students like us, or just any residents of West Covina, or people in general living in the San Gabriel Valley, or just living in any place that are passionate about housing, fixing the pervasive issues of poverty, and just in general transforming spaces that maybe already exist, or creating new spaces for people to live in?
We need to kind of organize to get people to run and to get people to take that leap. We need to go back to West Covina to open it for folks, right? To make it more inclusionary, right? To, yeah, we're fighting in East LA because the conditions are horrible, but we need a fight in West Covina to open up West Covina for East LA.
Thanks so much, Brian, for your time. You heard it here first. Vote for Brian Savadabai for Assembly District 48.
Young people are fabulous, and I think we can push stuff and at least hit them spaces they didn't know they could be hit. So